Yeah, because yeah, because even around that, there are conditions on those friendships, and when you spend your time trying to deed them away, you're not really building a trusting relationship, because they end up using you after a while. And and I know me, I can't open up to somebody I don't trust. And I my spirit knows when I can open up and when I can't, and what I can open up about and what I can't.
And you kind of react off of that too. Like I'm the same way. Like my spirit tells me before my brain tells me, honestly.
Yeah, like it's so quick. I'm very sharp there. Sometimes it scares me, and I don't want to feel like I'm in people's heads, but you just know. Um, but I deserve to treat myself better. Um, I you know to invest the time needed to cultivate with the things that I need to do. I posted something earlier this week on my Facebook. I got home from work. Um, my my mother is my boss right now. She's an entrepreneur, and she wasn't feeling well over the weekend. And oftentimes with her not being well, it's a matter of her needing to rest, because she's just that's where I get it from. I get it from her. She got it from her mother. She got it from hers. That's genetic. I know that. Um, and so I posted, I just want my mother to be able to better enjoy the fruits of her labor. That woman is hard working. She gets up at 5 every morning. She's on an intercessory prayer call. She leaves the house at 6:30. She sees patients at a rehab hospital, and then she comes to work. She's there from 8 to 5 to 7 on some days, and she's the last person to leave all the time. She comes home, she might eat a little something, she'll turn on a sermon on one of her computers and do charts on the other two until she goes to bed, and repeats it every day. And she's been doing that for the past 15 years. And I just want her to enjoy that. And I feel like my shortcomings and my failures sometimes add on to her already full plate. And so I even beat myself up about that too. And I haven't forgiven myself. I haven't forgiven myself for my failures.
So, Brother Shaq says this. Brother Shaq says this to us. Love yourself gently, right? Right now, I think all you got to do is just repurpose your vision. It's not strength and failures. Like, your mom didn't have you to be like, oh, this kid was a failure, right? She didn't raise you as that. All that shit that's going on is your own self-talk. Yeah. And that's the thing that we got to realize, is that own self-talk. Bro, I do that to myself all the time. I sit back, I wake up in the morning and I have a great mindset. Then I think about all the messed up shit that I probably have done, or things that I could have done better, or how I've fallen short. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing to myself? It takes me a good 2 hours every day to really get to a point of saying, what the fuck am I doing to myself? Why am I doing all this negative self-talk? Right before we got on this call, I probably was doing something just like that. That's just, like, honestly, that's just skills that we have to learn as Black men to get ourselves out of that. Okay, yeah, shit's not going as right. There's a lot of failures. But look at it this way. When times got tough, you stood down and stood 10 toes on your morals and your values, right or wrong.
Yeah, I have resolve. I gotta repurpose it. Dang, man.
It's literally learning positive self-talk.
Yes.
Yes, shit didn't go the way that you wanted it to go, but at the end of the day, it's still going okay because you've never lost your morals and your values. The only time that I feel like I could lose myself is if I lost my morals and my values. And I ain't lost that. I made mistakes, but I'm still out here getting it. And I'm repurposing that value. When COVID hit, the businesses that failed, they failed, right? But how many businesses transitioned over and say, you know what, we're going to do, instead of in-house dining, we're going to turn our shit streamlined right to takeout, only takeout. And they're still here to this day. They repurposed it. That's not what they wanted to do. They probably lose their servers and shit are probably losing out on a lot of money. They may be losing out on certain in-house dining, but guess what? They turned that shit into a whole fucking takeout restaurant. They repurposed it. They didn't sit there and think about, well, maybe I made this mistake in the past and that's why COVID happened and our business is suffering. No, it's a winner's mindset. It's a winner's mindset. Second thing is, going back to what you were saying, a lot of things that what we deal with as Black men are transactional relationships. We only have the relationships that are there or valuable if we can prove our worth.
This for that.
This for that. So keep that in mind, right? So, and the reason why I brought that up is for us to be able to make sure that when we are building relationships, we're keeping that in mind so that we don't continue those relationships, because that wears on our self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right? You're only good because you were the smart kid. You were the kid doing all this. And so now when you're the kid who is not getting all the accolades, but you're still that smart ass kid who brings just as much benefit to the world, now you're having a problem looking at yourself in a beautiful manner, because you're looking at the fact that you had all these transactional relationships that only told you were good enough because of what you could give them. Instead of a
good enough if. Good enough if.
Good enough if. Instead of a motherfucker just loving you for who the hell you are.
Yeah. I think we're so used to living in a capitalist world. Everything has to be transactional. There's a barter with anything. You're doing business. We're so used to everything having a cost.
Yes.
Everything always has had a cost. And you know, and our class system is based off of that. You know, like, and just look at how we think about people in lower income. We how do we think about them? We think the common traits that are attributed to them are ghetto, hoodlum, just those type of negative connotations. And sometimes that's just the hand that they're dealt. The scripture talks about, the poor will always be among us. And it also talks about how it is the responsibility of those that have to care for those that don't. We don't live in a world that does that. We live in a world of what have you done for me lately, and you're only as good as what you can do for me now, regardless of what you have done for me then.
And Black men, we need to end that. We need to end that and just start to see that love, because even we don't treat ourselves with that gentleness. TJ, I've known you going on about 4 months. And every time I bring your name up, my wife glows, because she's like, man, TJ's such a good person. I love him, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, TJ's just such a dope person. Like, but very often we don't find and manifest those type of relationships where it's just at the heart. We don't give each other nothing. I don't pay your bills. You don't pay my bills. What about we just love each other? Just the fact that we Black men with the same fucking mindset of just trying to be better Black men for ourselves and for our fucking families.
Yeah.
We got to love ourselves more gently.
We also have to, I think we also have to have things and value the things that we have. because I think that's the only reason we charge people so much for those transactions, because I don't even know where I'm going with that.
Let it flow.
I just we don't value one another and their worth, and especially these days, we uh, we charge so high of an amount to give people access to us. Some of us do, and we don't even bring that to the table ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but what that doesn't it's paradox. That's a paradox to me. Like you can't expect something that you can't
Give.
get. If I expect that from you, I can't expect that from you, but you expect that from me. Why?
Well, because that's also too, right? In the same manner that we're giving too much to people to make up for our insecurities, they're projecting onto others because of their insecurities. You see what I'm saying?
Man.
It all is working in the same fucking way. The reality of it all is we all just need to be doing the fucking work. Sometimes we got to sit with those dark thoughts. And we got to sometimes sit with when we feel played, not doing the shit that's going to have, like, having emotions make us take penitentiary chances. Right? Sometimes we got to sit with that. I mean, have you, I know I have. I've had situations where I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn, this motherfucker really played me. I'm going to go bust them upside their head. But you just sit there in the bed and you look like, man, okay, I got my wife next to me. I got my daughter in another room. Man, take your ass to sleep and get over that shit.
You know, and every time I've had that thought, my mom instilled in this in me. I don't know what it means. Well, let me take that back. I don't know if it's still true to me now, but every time I step out in the world, I'm a representation of her. And you know, and I just like, but I honor my mother so much. I still respect that, you know, like I don't want to bring shame to her name, or just let her down by doing something that she knows I'm better than, and she raised me to be better than. And I'm man, I'm grateful to have that. I'm more grateful than I know. It's kept me from a lot of bad decisions. You know, I was, you know, we there's so many things don't require the angry, the toxic, the petty, the vengeful energy that we give it. Sometimes if somebody does you wrong, you know, they did you wrong because that's what they're going to do. You don't have to get them back, because sometimes the second person is the only one that gets caught.
And it's also a reflection of themselves too, right? Like sometimes, like, it ain't about them playing you or you got played. They're treating you the way they feel about themselves in their core.
Yep.
I treat people with love because I feel loved. I feel happy. I feel like I'm in a place where I have mechanisms that even if I were to go down a bad road, I can pull myself out of it. So I treat people with love and kindness and care. When I was not feeling like that, I was not treating people like that.
I exactly. You know, I feel like my how I've always operated. The world's already evil enough. The world already doesn't love you enough. Just like how just day-to-day things. You know, it rains on the just and the unjust. You know, somebody's going to get in a car accident. You know, somebody's going to have a heart attack. Somebody's going to have a stroke. They might make it. They might not. You know, but because of that, because everybody's always dealing with stuff, why not love? And that's me. I pour it generously because I want it to come back to me, and I believe that it does. I believe that it does. But you know, I have to love myself as generously as I love others.
Mm-hmm.
As generously, and I have forgiven faults way it was tough folks. Just some man, folk have done me some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I won't forgive my failures. But when people fall short, I will still let them be around me.
Right.
And that man, we must love ourselves, man. We have to do it.
Well, look, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to leave us off with this right here. I'm going to bring it to a close. TJ, you and I, you're my brother. I love you to death, bro. We are growing. We are growing and we are inspiring growth. But also I say to everybody out there in listening land, love yourself, but love yourself gently. Love yourself with care. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Rise of the Kings podcast. Your boy TJ came through and blessed us with the word. Tony Wilson over here live on the mic. Come on.